we're back. Selamat pagi. This is Kenny with lots of growth. This is me versus me. Weekly reflections. End of week 3. So how did we do? How was the last week? And what did we get out of it? So I think the last week has been the more challenging of the 3 so far. We've had 3 good weeks, last week included, but last week had a more mixed bag of results. Off the top of my head, just a quick recap. Week 1, I think we did 4R nearly. Week 2, we did a 4R run as well. That was 8R. And that's something I want to touch on slightly today, which is when you know you're up ahead, when you know you're on your peak of the performance, you do expect that the system's negative edge will come around and hit you. It's variance, right? Just like in poker. Even with the best hand, you might lose. So invariably, when it came to this Monday, I was expecting that, yeah, I'm going to hit a few losses this week. I wasn't looking for the losses, but I was anticipating that my edge would be a bit weaker, and without the best of biases, I may hit some stop losses along the way. Let me head onto the chart to show you what I mean. So as with the weeks before, we approached the market the same way. So let's recap what happens in a good week. We show up, we take a trade, it goes to TP. We take a day off, even when we showed up, it would have been a profit. The next day, the same thing. This is an easy trending market. On this day, this was the extra trade. This was the London execution. And again, this was an easy move. The price went to the high, formed the low, and then we took the price going into the trend from the low. And the same thing with the Friday continuation, although this had to be pointed out, this was during NFP as well. Second week, we continued with the same momentum, and you can see the recurring theme of like the midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, the price comes back to the big MA and then it starts leaving again. So here we caught it during Asia instead of during London. And then once it's tangled up with the EMA, we start flipping inwards. And then Friday, we decided, hey, it's consolidation, we're not going in. So I started Monday with the understanding that the price was in consolidation, being that the price was within this Tuesday. And on Monday, my focus was attempting to follow the weekly open, which turned out to be my undoing because this wasn't well respected. In fact, the price was respecting the Asia body. You can see that it's clearly holding price upwards. Over here, Asia body, right over there. So look at me. And the MA as well. So that was a lesson for me to take. I'm going to take this as a incorrect bias, which also reminds me I've got to export the data, and we're going to run through the data in a statistics format, process format. Now over here, this was Tuesday. We had expected that the price was going to continue on Monday, and it did finish Asia on Tuesday. But at the point where I joined the market, it started flipping the other way. And this is a loss that I would gladly take because it is one of the system losses. Because when I do start varying, saying that, oh, it's outside London body, I can take a sell, then it's going to create a lot of other inconsistent entries from all other aspects of the market. So this is fine. The next day, this is questionable, but again, this is also system loss because this was good. Look at this. This presented itself in much the similar way as it did with this price action. So I had no reason to believe that it was going to flip on me. The only thing that I could have done is maybe downsized to 0.3 or 0.6 because I did take 3 straight R's, losing R's, but they weren't all at 1%. My full risk is 1%, but I took 0.3 on Monday, 0.6 on Tuesday, and then 1% on Tuesday. So added up, I think we only exposed 1.9%. But the last trade, I actually took it at an even lesser loss because I had an exit exit trigger. So I think in all I lost about 1.7%, which is still a chunk. But when I'm following the system, I went to bid on this is FOMC, by the way. So I recall that this, after taking the loss, I felt kind of flat for the next few hours. I wasn't super disappointed, but I was just flat, like, man, it's that run, isn't it? And then right about after New York, going into bedtime, as the price pulled up to the highs, I was already very much over, meaning I've accepted those losses, and I've come to terms with the fact that, hey, this is part of variance. This is part of the taking the negative trades in the edge. The only better thing I could have done was take the day off. So that was something for me to apply in hindsight. That once I recognize the signs of my edge being lower than it usually is, I can take the day off, similar to last Friday, and take the paper trade. So this now becomes sort of like my mini challenge. Can I take my days off on the days that I'm supposed to get negative 1 hour? And that would be a very interesting exercise to undergo, because that would equate to sort of not driving when you know it's going to be a big jam out there. I don't like traffic jams, but when I need to, I'm going to have to go through the traffic jam. And that's what going in, taking a stop loss is equivalent to. It's not a bad trade, it's not a bad drive, it's just you went into some traffic. So move on into Thursday. I woke up Thursday being at peace with my actions all week long, and being centered. I was like, yeah, I'm happy that I did 3 trades. I didn't get involved with the FOMC. I didn't have to fight my way through FOMC, because this was a nasty move. The price did pull up first, then it did a long dip back down before going back up, and then ending up down here. So there was like 3-4 waves in there, and I could have got him right, I could have got him really wrong. So with the risk of getting it really wrong out of the way, I'm actually very content that I'm not involved with that move. Even when I had been involved, it would just be limited to 1 trade, 1 risk. So I woke up Thursday feeling energized, because there was no reason to feel dejected or not performing, because I follow my rules all the way. And that was something that which is new for this season, is that I'm reminding myself again and again that, did you do what you need to do? Do you need to do more than you need to do? Have you done things that you're not supposed to do? And when the answers are yes, no, no to all those, I feel great. I feel like I'm not even hawking over my like babysitting my phone anymore. I'm not babysitting the trade anymore. So that was a good change for Thursday. And once I was done for like 3 hours on Thursday, I took the rest of the day off. And the second trade, which was at London, was again a very tasty trade. And the fact that London finished out here, and my MA didn't sneak out of Thursday to Wednesday and below the weekly low, this yellow line, I was inclined to think that this price was going to head back up the next day. So this was my trade on Friday. I took it in London rather than Asia. So slightly behind. Asia would have finished around there. So I had to take my trade out beyond previous day. And it was totally fine, because what we saw was price was going to operate within Wednesday. And the moment that I saw this happen, the MA flip above my yellow and above the close of Wednesday, I was quite sure that it was going to at least finish up this body. So that was a clean trade. And all in all, losing about 1.7% in the start of the week and collecting 2% at the end of the week, I ended the week in somewhat of a positive, negative on ours, but positive in my P&L. So I think I can't be dissatisfied with the outcome. I'm certainly very, very satisfied with my inputs, being that I was here every day for my pre-session. We even did 1 session on the road. And I'm quite happy that this new routine of verbalizing via this video recording is really helping me out and affirm my actions as a trader. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to export these trades, and we're going to do a little bit of a deeper review on the Excel. Okay, so this is the part where sometimes it takes a long time to get it done. But because we have these anchoring sessions at the end of the week, it's now part of the routine. I'm not going out of my way to do it. It's just naturally coming to me now. And that's what I want. I want to create habits that become sustainable, that I know I can continue to do, to produce and continue to execute, rain or shine. Hold up. So even things like preparing my trade report is something that, yes, I can automate, and might as well show you what I'm doing at this moment. All I'm doing is just I'm adding data from my trade report, and I'm just formulating it into this table. And that is essentially it. Little OCD part of me wants to say, look, these are white columns and they shall be. And now we're just going to do some data collection. So how many trades do we have our TP hit? This is SL hit, stop loss hit, exit loss. Session type, this was London A, London D, London. At that point was the London D, and then this is Asia A, which turned out to be inverse, and then this is a Asia A, this is a London A. And all these trades, we took it well in time. Entry type, this was gonna be a inwards trade, which turned out to be wrong. In fact, it was going for a session out. This was a session out trade, turns out to be an inwards trade. This was the buy on Wednesday. So we tried to trade inwards, but this was going for a session out. And here we took a wick within, that was the right trade, TP hit. And this was a session out. And this was, we'll call it wick within. London A, wick within, and we hit TP as well. So only 2 trades hit TP, and we're going to add that to the value. So here's where the Excel helps us a little bit. I'm sure you can automate this the whole way, but it's nice to slow down and feel the numbers. So over here, we want to filter for TP hit. And that is equivalent of 5.8K, 5793. I think this week wasn't great in terms of, so we hit 2 stop losses, which amount to minus 873. Minus 873. And 1 exit loss minus 798. I think we have 2 more TPs, 1 exit loss, 1 stop loss. So we're up to 13 trades this week, this month. Okay, so now this is the point where we grade the trade. quite recall the value. I have to pull it up here. And this is why we do this. We want to refresh ourselves on what we did exactly. We want to track our inputs and see how well we've done our inputs, because I operate on a varying session range. So sometimes when I use the wrong value, I get the wrong outcome. Not this week though, not this week. 1719, 1550, Asia 1756, 1811, 1862. Stop loss is being hit here. Exit loss times 0.8. And here we're going for full wins. So very little deviation. We'll call them as errors, yeah. This one's not an error. Inwards, session out. Yeah, we can't call that. So only one error. Okay, so full win, half win. So we're gonna add more to the full wins. 9360. No half wins. Exit losses minus 773. Stop losses 866. Hey. So delta wise down to minus 50. Eight and 25. And here, over trading, we have full wins 10, 1, 2. Error rate, that's what we're looking for. So session out 5, 6 session outs, 1 incorrect, none incorrect. It took 5, 2, and 1. So we're still on 1 error for the whole month, 8%. And inwards is still our weakest session. So that is the reporting done for this month. Those are the breakdowns. So let's look at the headline numbers again. So overall this month, we're at 77 win rate. We've done a total of 13 trades. 0 of which are over trades. I've not deviated from the trading. We have 8% of errors. We took 1 incorrect inward session this month. The other 2, I'm going to call it system losses because it is what it is. So far this month, we're still on track for one of our better months. We're still outperforming all the average win months. I would ignore the result from July and August as those are clearly over trading results. In fact, for the last 3 months prior to this. So what I want to emulate is all these blue months up here. And it's something that I'm quite confident we can push it through and we can see it a good result out of. So let's head back to the screen. Anything else I want to share with you today? I think this has been quite a long session, a quite in-depth weekly review. I think the last thing we would want to wrap up is just this little bit here. The weekly report. We had 5 trading days, 5 trades, all of which I've called good. losses included, because the only error I'm doing is just taking the buy or sell, and that is not part of this this review, at least here. The technical side of things will handle the technical. Here is about being present, showing up to the sessions, and that's resulted in a minus 0.8 R result for the week. Pretty satisfied with that. Could have been way worse. Could have been negative 3 R, could have been negative 5 R, but we've stayed true to our processes. We've not gone out of bounds, and we stayed within our game. So what we did right, showing up on Thursday after 3 consecutive losses, I think that was something of a highlight of the week. And because we did turn up on Thursday, we could also turn up on Friday. I think in the past, when I got 3 losses down, I would just half show up on a Thursday and then end up with a 4th loss, and probably end up with Friday with a 5th loss. So having that reset and sort of like standing back up after we fall down, that's a key KPI for us to stand back up and get into the zone. Downsizing was also an important part of us keeping our emotions in check. It helped a lot because it was a hit and we could get the result from the system, but it wasn't a deep mental hit. So now I say. So we ended up with a profit in dollar value, but a negative in R value. So again, I think this is allowing us to exercise our risk management better and allow us to keep the momentum from totally sort of like hitting a cliff or going to a peak. We're just trying to level it out and make sure the ride is consistent and with momentum. So skipping the beats better, yeah, I did mention that. Have we just taken Tuesday and Wednesday in opposite, meaning we go in we go in Asia on Tuesday and then London in Wednesday, those would have been 2R profits rather than 2R losses. So these are, you would say, like trying to sing the karaoke, trying to sing along to a song, and you're just skipping the beats, you're missing the beats. It comes better with practice, but it's not something I want to overly focus on going to the next week. These are small differences, but it shouldn't be. These differences will make a difference in the highest end, meaning it's the difference between me getting 10 and 15 R a month, not the difference between me getting 0 to 5 R every month. My base system edge would still get me to my 5 to 10 R. These little refinements are the ones that take it from 5 to 10 to 10 to 15. So that's where the last 20% of work, 20% of improvement will take 80% of the work. I want to focus on the first 20% first, and then we get to that in the next couple of weeks. Oh, okay, my boy wants to shower, so I'm going to have to log out very soon. Habits, we're running twice a week. I think the runs are doing us well. Core and lower back stretches to strengthen the core. Even through this session, I've been hunching. Trading wise, we're going to attach more funded accounts. Yay. And something for later, studying the consolidation moves near and about the FOMC, which happens once a month. So I think we've got a good plan on what to execute in the weeks ahead and how to improve ourselves. I think we've been showing up well to these sessions. And this is something I'm going to be continuing even past this month. This is going to be a long-term improvement. And that would be really it. I think this weekly reflection it's got a lot of good nuggets in it. I would want to come back to watch it at some point later in the month. It's a highlight week of the month, I would say, even though P&L wise we're kind of in the middle. But the processes behind the P&L, I think, deserves a second shout and deserves a second view again. So I hope you guys got a very good view of what I had going on this week. And I hope you got a couple of nuggets out of that session as well. See you bright early on Monday. I'm going to take a break tomorrow. It's been a long week. And I shall see you with me versus me. Lots of growth here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss our next uploads. We're going live again on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody.